I mean, I live streamed that as well.
Yeah. Who have you had on your stream, like politician-wise or anyone else?
So we've had Greg Kazar yesterday. That was wonderful. He's sick. He's really cool. We had, who else did we have? We had a bunch of, Ed Markey showed up randomly, just kind of popped in. That was cool. And also Cori Bush I interviewed at the Uncommitted campaign. And I also interviewed Ro Khanna as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
In the past, you've done like, didn't you do AOC at one point in the past?
Yeah. AOC is supposed to be coming on after you.
Oh, really?
Today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, up here or somewhere else?
Hopefully, if we're still here, if we don't move, if we don't get moved, then it will be here. I've also interviewed like a bunch of like journalists or you know, people that are interviewing me. They'll come on the stream, kind of like you're doing right now. Like Donnie O'Sullivan from CNN is like featuring me in one of his documentaries he's working on. So, yeah. And then a whole bunch of activists. Yeah.
And that, I mean, people have been talking about how some people were surprised that the DNC like gave you a credential.
I'm surprised that they did.
Why?
Because I mean, honestly, I am obviously very critical of the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Like, I'm anti-Trump. Like, that's not a secret, right?
Yeah.
I'm very anti-Trump. But I'm also very critical of the Democratic Party in general, across the board. Not just this time around, but just consistently for their proximity to, like, Republican legislation in general, like the way that they sometimes capitulate or concede to Republican policymaking, Republican narratives. And I don't like that. I want them to be a party that fights and a party that truly represents progress in this country.
Right.
Because, like it or not, we just have a duopoly. I can't change that.
And so did you get any pushback? Not pushback. Well, first of all, how did it happen? How did you end up getting invited to do this?
So it actually happened because I got my management to ask, like, the influencer credentials, like to ask for credentials, and they don't know, like, the press route or anything. They're like a normal Hollywood agency, right? Like a Hollywood management company. So they went the route that they know, which is influencer.
Right.
And that's how it worked out.
And what was that? Before or after Biden stepped out?
It was actually before.
It was before. Okay.
It was before Biden stepped out, and I was definitely a lot more critical back then too. So,
I mean, I wonder. It was approved before Biden stepped out too. Do you know?
I don't know if it was. I think it was.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the conversations happened before, but I don't know. I don't know if it was.
There's like, you know, unproven speculation that, like, if they had opened up the creator window or whatever after Biden dropped out, it would have been a whole different, like, group of people. Like, they were a little bit. It was difficult to get people to sign up before, allegedly, and then after everyone was desperate, by then they'd already greenlighted all these people.
Oh,
so.
I didn't care.
Yeah.
I was, you know, I wanted to come here. I wasn't going to compromise on my values. I wasn't going to say anything differently because I'm here, and I haven't. But, you know, I was still interested regardless.
Right.
It wasn't because of my, like, admiration of Joe Biden, obviously, which I very openly was critical of. They knew that as well. So, you know, it still worked out.
They haven't given you any kind of, like, put any, like, guardrails around what you can do, or, like, give you any instructions or anything like that?
No.
Yeah, that's good.
I can't speak for other content creators, but for me, no, they have not done that.
Yeah. And they offer the access you got to the politicians you mentioned. Was that through them, or did you get it on your own, or how did that happen?
Some of them on my own. Some of them I think they directly reached out.
Yeah.
Like they reached out. By the way, make sure you don't show your phone to the camera.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, basically, the access that I got to politicians was, I think they are the ones who reached out. They sent me a list.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm, like, at liberty to say what it is. Like, I don't want to be.
Well, that's fine. I've talked to a bunch of creators this week.
Yeah, they sent me, like, a list, but I didn't. I was like, I don't care about this.
Yeah.
So, but most of the interviews, like AOC, I have a direct line of communication with her and her team. Ilhan Omar, same thing. With Sean Fain, through the UAW. Like, a lot of the progressive politicians, I either go through the activist route, or I will know someone on their team through Twitter, and I just like reach out to them directly. But the politicians I've interviewed so far, they reached out to I guess, either the agency, like the marketing agency, or the DNC, or my management.
Right.
So, yeah.
And how many hours are you streaming on any given day in your normal life, and then how's that compare to the convention?
So normally I stream at a minimum 8 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay.
But it's much easier to do from my house.
Right. It's all
I have
set
this
up.
I have this setup, and I also have like everything. I'm used to doing it in my house, and I have this like rigid schedule that like allows me to be able to do it. Here, I also am doing 8 hours every single day so far, but it is 7 days a week. Yeah.
You must take breaks, like, right? There's times you just. What if you like travel or something like that?
That is the only time. The only time I actually like, I guess technically take a break is if I'm flying internationally, and I simply don't have time. Like I physically cannot stream.
Right.
But I do stream when I travel. Like when I go, I bring my remote setup that you're looking at right now. I bring that everywhere.
So you'll be like walking to the airport doing your stream?
No, I don't do that because they would call in bomb threats. I think people used to do that back in the day, and they would call bomb threats. Yeah.
And not from the plane.
Yeah. No, nothing like that.
Yeah. But like your buddy's getting married or something. Like you can tell your audience, like, you know what, I need to do.
I took a day off because a friend of mine had a bachelor party.
There you go.
I took 1 day off. So yeah.
How long has that been going on? 8 hours a day thing?
Well, I went full time in 2020, in the beginning of 2020, and I haven't stopped.
With the pandemic.
Yeah. In the year 2020, I spent 42% of the entire year live on camera, which is not normal, I know.
Our forefathers and mothers fought and died for. They died on the battlefield, in factories, on farms and picket lines.
Do you ever like take a nap on camera?
No.
I saw HasanAbi do that.
Yeah, so that's a different, like, there's a different style, I guess, like where they do like subathons, or they'll do like they'll have like a set goal, like they'll be like, I'm gonna finish this game, and I'm not stopping my stream until I finish this game. And sometimes it's like hundreds of hours. It takes like a week, right? So obviously they have to sleep in that process, so they'll even sleep on camera. I don't do that. But I do basically stream virtually every hour that I'm not sleeping anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, I just want to have a little bit of time to myself. I'm 33.
Yeah.
So I need to work out. I need to, spend time with my family. So usually I, take a little bit of time, like a couple hours here and there.
Put some kind of limits to your camera
That's
time.
the limit to my camera time. Is 8 hours a day.
So
Well, not 8, but minimum.
And you do what kind of commercial work do you do? Can you talk about that?
Commercial
Do
work?
you do any commercial work? Do you get?
What do you
anything,
mean by
like sponsored,
ads?
Sponsored ads?
There are a lot of brands that reach out and they want to sponsor me. I usually don't do that. I choose not to.
Have you done any?
Yeah. Video games for the most part. Like I'll if I'm gonna play a video game anyway, and they're giving me money to do it, I'm like, sure.
Right.
But beyond that, I rarely ever take on sponsorships.
You're not gonna do like an energy drink or something like that.
I mean, depends. If it's something that I consume or something that I like, then yeah, I would do it. But I guess on top of that, we just recently on our podcast started doing some ads as well, some branded stuff. But my podcast is a cooperative.
Yeah.
And March is my producer. He's a part owner of the podcast, and everyone in the cooperative gets a say.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do advertising, so I was like, sure, why not?
And those aren't ads. You're not reading the ads. They're ads that like go. They're like.
No. We're reading ads.
Reading ads.
Yeah. We'll. What did we do? SeatGeek or something? We did a SeatGeek ad for my for my podcast Fear End.
Please remain standing for the presentation
And
of colors.
so the other thing, one thing I'm interested in is like the role of streamers in politics. You've had a few politicians on. I know you've talked about this, like Aiden Ross sat down with Trump or whatever. I feel like there's gonna be more of this kind of thing. It seems like politicians are like, oh, this is something people do, and we need to pay attention to that.
Yeah. Look, I think this is this goes against my best interest to admit this, but I think politicians should focus more on their platforms rather than what platform that they're streaming on.
Oh, very clever.
Because, no, I'm serious. And I'm not saying this as a political commentator. Well, I guess I am saying this as kind of a political commentator, but I am also saying this as someone who has been professionally covering, you know, the rat race and numerous election cycles at this point. Bernie Sanders was one of the most popular politicians for the youth, right? But he was old as hell.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what Twitch is. I mean, they put him on Twitch.
They did?
Yeah, I mean, he has a Twitch stream as well. But like, that's not the reason why he was popular with the youth. AOC is not popular with the youth because she's young. It's because she's young and she speaks to the same things that Bernie Sanders speaks to. I think young people, albeit on average, are not very interested in the political process at all. Demonstrably, they vote in a lower percentage than, like, their voter participation percentage is much lower than older people. But the ones that do pay attention, the ones that do vote, are very primed. Like, they are, I would say they are more interested and more invested in policies than like an older person is, to a certain degree.
Right.
So in order to activate the youth, politicians should focus more on their policies that actually materially improve the lives of young people rather than like what platform they're going to be on.
But they think, I mean, I can tell you, having talked to a lot of people, they think that there's people that can't reach otherwise. They think the people...
There are.
Yeah.
They're here. They're definitely here.
They're here, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, like, it's not just simply appearing.
It's more of an...
It's not simply just appearing on the platform. If you do that, yeah, I mean, sure, it's just another outlet, right? Like, it's going to be exactly like what Donald Trump does. Like, he's on Twitch.
Yeah.
He's live streaming his broadcast. I mean, he's live broadcasting his rallies, but that doesn't really move the needle that much. No one is, I think, getting convinced because they saw a Trump rally on Twitch as opposed to a Trump rally on television.
Right.
What matters is what they're saying at the rallies.
But he goes on Aiden Ross. He's got that audience. He says maybe the things they like to hear. I don't know.
I think Trump has a different style. It's not necessarily policy focused, as we've realized at this point.
Yeah.
And it's more so a personality, a charisma, like something that is very appealing to a lot of people. I think that he laser focused on his own. He laser focused on a group of people that I assume were the only people he could gain from, because like he's pretty maxed out when it comes to name recognition. Everybody knows who Trump is.
Yep.
Out of the demographics that do vote, they've already made up their minds on him.
Yep.
They've made up their minds on him in 2016, or at least in 2020, right? So I think he was trying to go after people who are, I assume, like the same, like disconnected, disaffected, but younger men in general that listen to like pickup podcasts and things like that.
Yeah.
Like Red Pill, the Manosphere community.
Yep.
But I don't know if he'll be able to like activate enough people from just the Aiden Ross appearance to go out and vote.
Right. But I mean, also, that whole community, the people who are streaming you not one time. A lot of times, it's like they have almost like a relationship with you, right? Like they know what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
They watch over and over.
Yes.
It seems like he would have to go on over and over to build that same kind of relationship. Like one
Yes.
appearance, I don't know what that's going to accomplish.
Yes, so this platform has a tremendous benefit. I think you asked about advertising.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I did ad work when I was at the Young Turks back in the day, and I think this platform specifically, like live streaming specifically, creates such a powerful sense of community, and there's so much trust in the content creator because you're spending a lot of time with them over the course of 8 hours, maybe not the entire 8 hours, but like, you know, the viewership, the average time spent on this platform is like an hour. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like unheard of in comparison to anything else, right? So there's a lot of trust that they build with their content creator in that regard, and of course that is the reason why I think like advertising on this platform is probably more successful than just buying an ad in front of a YouTube video.
Right.
And I see that. I mean, sometimes I'll click on a random link on a website to look at like, I don't know, like merchandise or something, and we end up giving the website a hug of death. It's like a distributed denial of service attack, but it's not an attack. It's not like directed at that website to overload their servers, but we end up overloading those servers anyway.
On the stream, you click on it.
Yeah, and then people are like, oh my God, I want to go see it myself.
Yeah.
So, like, that is somewhat of a testament to like the audience loyalty, I guess.
Yeah.
So yes, politicians could take advantage of that to a certain degree, but I don't know how effective it would be for like a one-off.
Right.
You know?
Right. That said, like, if you had, it sounds like you're pretty open. I mean, if you had an opportunity to sit down with like Kamala Harris, I suppose you would do that, right?
Probably, I would do that. Yeah, but I mean, it's a calculation that I make. In time, like, it's a calculation that I make definitely, where I'm like, I don't want to be so disruptive in this conversation that I might have that like it shows them in a really bad light, you know what I mean? Or it shows me in a really bad light. So I try to stay away from like politicians that I actively, on the Democratic Party side at least, that I actively like am in disagreement with. But I mean, I would still do it.
Just given the platform, or the figure she is, right? I mean, it seems like, yeah. Do you think of yourself as a journalist?
No.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm a political commentator. I'm as much as a journalist as Jake Tapper is a journalist.
Okay.
He might have done journalism in the past, but I don't think he's a journalist now.
Right.
I guess he breaks stories sometimes, or
his people do, right? Yeah.
But yeah, but like I rarely ever do original reporting. I think that if you are a journalist, you do original reporting. You have a beat, or even if you don't have a beat, you do original reporting.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Yeah. Would you sit with Republican politicians?
Oh yeah.
Have you?
I mean, I guess Larry Elder technically.
Okay.
He did become a Republican politician for a little bit, or a Libertarian one too.
Yep.
But he was running for governor of California. I debated him on Alex Michelson's like Fox Local channel in Los Angeles.
Okay. What about? I mean, like, it's kind of, it seems unlikely, but given like if Trump's people were like, he wants to go on your show, would you do it?
If Trump wanted to come on my show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you do it.
I would love that.
And you think that would be combative, or what would it be like?
Yes.
Yeah, you'd be going for it.
I think it would be combative. Yeah. It would be content too.
Do you feel like your audience are like not politically aligned with you, or do you think there's a variety of like opinions?
I think that my point of view and my ideology, like what I believe in, or at least like the moral foundation is not radical, but my ideology is definitely outside of the confines of like what is permissible, acceptable in mainstream media. So it's not exactly something that is like broadly represented. So I do find myself constantly making an argument to try to get people to see the world from my worldview, from my perspective.
Yeah.
But there are definitely a lot of people who have, over the course of many, many years, like, seen the world from my lens. I mean, I went to the Palestinian protest first day, and throughout the entire protest, we live streamed it.
Yeah.
There were hundreds of people that came up, including event organizers that were like organizing the pro-Palestinian protest. That came up and were like, "You were instrumental in my development. Like, you radicalized me. You made me see the world in a very different way." I know that that's a scary thing. That's a scary word. Yeah, that was a scary word, I know. But like, what I mean by that is like, there's not a lot of representation. There's not a lot of representation of like the Palestinian side of the equation, I would say, in mainstream media in comparison to the Israeli side. And I think that I try to offer that to the best of my ability, and I think I also try to show the humanity of that side as well, so that people develop a different understanding that they might not have been privy to if all they saw was somewhat one-sided approaches.
It doesn't come. I mean, it can come like offering your opinion all the time can come across as preachy. That's like a risk of it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
How do you deal with that?
People think I'm an asshole. People think I'm preachy. It is what it is, you know? But here's the thing. I will never deny that I'm a biased person. And I think that that is more honest than acting like you have no bias when you, of course, do. I understand, like, objective news reporting, but there's still obviously underlying biases there. As a matter of fact, a big part of, like, what I do is to basically hold people's hand through the media process. Like, I have a lot of respect for traditional journalism. I have a lot of friends in traditional outlets, including your outlet, as a matter of fact. I have, like, you know, there's plenty of investigative reporters that I communicate with, that I talk to on a regular basis, that I really value their work, and I always will promote them here as well. I wouldn't be able to do what I do if it wasn't for mainstream media, right? Like, otherwise it would just be me talking shit in my room. You know, there's no original reporting that I'm doing, right? So I understand the necessity, and I try to look at it from with a more critical lens.
Well, I mean, I told you before, there's more and more interest from politicians in streaming. Like, they've kind of in a vague way identified this as a place they should fuck around with, and they should be experimenting with. I've talked to people who are like, yeah, we're going to do a campaign. We're going to get more and more, like, I mean, an advertising campaign. We're going to get more and more political types on the streaming.
Yeah.
It seems like you're the kind of person that you want to target, because you might be critical about some things, but they feel like they have the sense that streamers are all like right wing, and the idea that there's a safe space for Democrats to the left is interesting to them.
Yeah, I don't think streamers are all right wing at all.
Yeah.
That is, I think, one of the reasons why I actually got on Twitch originally was because I knew that in the gamer space, this is a gaming platform originally, right? And in the gaming space, I knew that there was, like, a lot of people who, like, I myself, I'm a gamer. There's a lot of people like me. The gaming space is very diverse, and there's a diversity of ideas in the gaming space as well. But, like, the only type of commentary that existed in the space was right wing to far right. People who consider themselves to be centrist, that would oftentimes carry water for the right, or people who were genuinely far right, all the way to, like, white nationalism, right? But I don't think that's how it is on Twitch, and I don't think that's how the gaming space is in general either. I don't think the streaming space is like that either. But it's largely people who might have a lot of progressive opinions, but are just either apolitical or just try to stay out of political commentary and politics in general.
But the right-wing people feel less restrained.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely very... I mean, when do the right... You know, when do they shut the fuck up? You know, pardon my French, but they love calling themselves the silent majority, and they are actually the exact opposite. They're very loud, and they are the minority.
Right. I mean, you saw the video. I saw some videos. I'm sure you've seen them of, like, someone like Aiden Ross. Not to harp on him, but, like, having a Trump on or whatever, and then, like, all these videos pop up of him, like, he doesn't know what the word fascist means. Like, he doesn't know. There's, like, not really a lot of basic information that he has that one wonders. I mean, I have the impression you're pretty well read. You think about these issues. I don't get the impression that he maybe has the same background in thinking about politics. That
You're being very nice.
Well,
You're being very nice. No, he's a fucking idiot.
I would never say that.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't say that. You're in the New York Times, but he is. I mean, he is not an intelligent person at all. He literally had a conversation with another streamer who I like a lot, actually, where he thought that Joe Biden was responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade. Like, but that's exactly the type of person that Donald Trump needs to captivate. That's like...
It's like the low information.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds kind of messed up to say, but it is the reality, yes. Like, that's what Trump has to go after. Them and, like, the high information voter that is a billionaire
they're, like, maybe more cynical, right? There's something else going on there, I would think.
Yeah, there are high information voters that vote Republican. They're just assholes.
Everybody hands up, hands up.
Have you had reach out on the political side that you've turned down?
Have I ever been reached out?
Have you had reached out from like the political world with stuff that you don't want to do that you've turned down?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
You know, not really.
And who else would you say is like a progressive, like a middle, like left of center to progressive streamer?
Who else is a left of center progressive streamer?
Like who else? What are the streamers with an actual kind of like audience that's meaningful are progressive like yourself or somewhere in the spectrum?
I mean, there are a lot of streamers that are progressive, but they just don't do political commentary.
Right.
They stay away from that, is what I'm saying.
But who would avoid it? Who wouldn't want?
Yeah,
who
exactly.
Wouldn't want AOC on
yeah,
the stream,
exactly.
right? So,
Well, they would do it with AOC. I mean, I had all my friends at the time on my stream, like when we did the Among Us thing in the election cycle. Like there were a lot of those guys that are like very progressive people.
yeah, okay. I guess I'll rephrase it and say, who, other than you, if you were like a political consultant, who would you advise that people are like talking to, cultivating, building alliances, building a community with?
There are smaller streamers that also do this. Central Committee, Grimlow, Sean the Black, Frogan. There's a lot of like streamers on Twitch. There's also Caroline Kwan. There are a lot of streamers that stream on Twitch that do political commentary. You have Majority Report that also is on Twitch as well, but that's like a radio show. Or used to be a radio show. So there are plenty of people, but in terms of like audience impact and size, like that's just me basically hyping up my friends at this point. Like if we're being real, like, but as far as like impact and size, in terms of like what would move the needle, I don't know. Like I don't know who would be willing. It would be entirely dependent on like what the interest is.
Right.
Like what are they trying to do? Are they trying to have a conversation about like abortion? If they are, I'm sure there are plenty of streamers that would be down to do something about that. You know, fundraise for it, or even talk to a politician for it, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
But outside of that, outside of that, like it just depends on what the issue is, really.
Okay.
But if it's like an all-encompassing, like if it's like labor related, like I don't know how many streamers would be interested in that.
Interested in that topic. If you
Other
would do
than
it,
like
you would talk about it.
Yeah, of course. I'm saying other than the political commentators that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many streamers would be like super invested in a conversation like that.
Why
Because
so?
they're thinking about it from the point of view of content too.
And they're thinking about what their audience wants to hear. They don't want to like, I mean, is that something, going back to just generally what you do, is that something on your mind all the time? Like I gotta feed the beast. I gotta keep my audience happy. Or do you feel like what makes me happy is what makes them happy? Like that's how it works.
Not necessarily. I mean, I do care about like making everything that I say entertaining.
Yeah.
Like I do care about educating people, and I care about entertaining people, and I think that is the best way to educate people in general. Having said that, there are obviously a lot of instances. This is like the worst moment for me to have this conversation right now, because like we're locked in, we're at the DNC, This is all politics all the way, right? But outside of political commentary, yes, I do a lot of stuff. I game, I do collaborations. I, for example, the other week went to DreamCon, which is a convention, it's like an anime convention created by a black comedy troupe called RDC.
Okay.
They're huge on YouTube, and they're really funny.
Okay.
Right? And I went to their anime convention to go play basketball in their creator league that they have.
Okay.
And that is like completely outside of the world of politics, right? Like I'm in Austin, I'm playing basketball, I'm collaborating with other content creators. Like I see that as an avenue to show myself in a different light. I see that as an avenue to show myself in a different way to like people that normally wouldn't see that side of me. And I also think that like contributes to my approach. But yeah, first and foremost, I want to be entertaining. So I do stuff like that as well.
Do you see, I mean, you like doing this, you like doing 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you see yourself transitioning to anything more political than commentary?
Like, as in run for office? No.
Or like be a consultant or get involved in politics in any way? Or do you really see it
I do get involved in politics.
on the media side, right? On the media, the content.
Well, it's not just on the media side. So I work with labor organizers, I work with activists, and I do a lot of fundraisers as well. So I try to get my community to also do things that matter.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of people feel very powerless when they're watching all this, all of this awfulness unfold. Russia invades Ukraine. We launch a fundraiser to get money, to raise money for Ukrainian refugees.
Yeah.
Another big one was when the earthquake happened in Turkey and northern Syria. We fundraised like $1.3 million in a matter of a week, because I think a lot of people want to help, and that's like one way that I can figure out. That's one way that I found that we can like immediately have some sort of impact.
Right. That makes sense.
For Gaza, post October 7, after the Israeli incursion, I immediately knew a bunch of these charities that were working on the ground, these 8 organizations that were working on the ground that I wanted to fundraise for, and we did. I set up a fundraiser through Tiltify. They went to the 8 organizations on the ground, and they got, you know, they officially were able to work with them. And we raised, I don't remember the exact numbers, I think we raised like around 1.3 or $1.4 million the first time around. And then we also got together a bunch of content creators and created an initiative called like Creators for Gaza, Creators for Palestine. And then we fundraised another $1 million plus. So, you know, those are things that I also end up doing. I was the largest single donor to the Amazon labor union.
Okay. I didn't know that. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, like, my impact. I try to do my very best. I you know, as far as like how I live my life and how I try to advocate for certain things. And then beyond that, I also am like actively bringing on labor organizers, activists, community organizers, local politicians, and trying to show people that like these are the people that are working, and also do my very best to help them out as best as I can.
This is a really unrelated, non-political question. I just noticed, how tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
6'4", okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a tall guy.
He wrote that down. He wrote 6'4".
I'll forget it. You can see this in the notebook.
Yeah, that's crazy. You're going analog.
Yeah, no one else does this, right?
Yeah, no,
Who
not
else
at
takes
all.
notes on your show with a pen?
No, I mean I talk to journalists all the time. They don't use the notebook and a pen anymore. They use the iPhone.
No one. I'm a lot. I might be even older than I look. It turns out, but.
Wait, how old are you?
49.
Oh, you don't look 49.
I might be that old. I'm pretty old.
Yeah, no, you don't look 49 at all. You look pretty. You're fit.
I try to keep.
What do you do? What do you do? Marathons?
Not that much, but
you look like a runner. I knew it.
And I swim.
I knew it. That's the stubborn. Only a runner would fucking still use a goddamn pen and paper. Classic.
Well, if I was typing, I would never look up. I can look up a little bit this way. What do? You play basketball?
I work out. I lift. I play basketball.
You don't stream that though, do you?
Sometimes.
You do sometimes.
But like not usually. No, that's me time.
Right.
When I'm touching grass.
If you want to watch a movie, you're not streaming that either, right?
No, yeah, I don't. I could, but depends on the movie. But no,
I mean, you could watch it. They could be watching like. Remember, you ever seen Mystery Science Theater 3?
Yeah.
You could do that. You could offer.
I could just like. Well, I do sometimes do it. It's called. We do reacts like.
Yeah, it's like when you're playing a game, right?
Yeah. It's exactly the same principle. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, like, I'm glad I got to meet you. I know you talked to my colleague too about this, and I'm just I'm very interested in this. I think whether politicians really get it or not, I definitely don't totally get it yet. I'm not gonna lie, I'm learning.
No, I know.
But like,
they don't. The DNC doesn't get it either. Trust me. That's why they put me in here. I think. But it worked in my favor.
Yeah.
in a little bit, I think. Yeah, I got like crazy access.
It's pretty incredible, right? But I feel like they would give you more. Like my gut is.
I think if they knew what I did, like if they fully understood it, yeah, like technically they should give me, full-blown access. Like they should give me this as a permanent space. I mean, look, what is NBC at right now? Let's take a look. Yeah. See, NBC's coverage, live coverage currently has 38,000 views.
Right.
We have 55,000 people watching. And they're just watching you and I talk. We haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. You know? No disrespect to NBC. No. I know that there's a little bit of drama. This is me doing journalism.
Okay, let me hear.
I'm gonna flip the script on you.
Okay.
Are there talks in mainstream outlets about like in terms of how they feel about influencers getting access that otherwise would be given to like credentialed reporters?
I mean, there's definitely out in the press area. There's grumbling. It's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
And, there's a little bit of like people getting their back up about it. It's also true that no one has sympathy for like a whiny journalist, right? No one wants to hear a journalist complain about like they don't have the plushest stuff. The truth is, we still have access to this room.
Yeah.
Like a lot of access, but I actually have a story coming out either tonight or tomorrow in the New York Times about what the creators have been able to do this week. And there was a woman I talked to who went to the Republican convention as a journalist, like I am, credentialed like a journalist.
Yeah.
And then she came here credentialed as a creator. And she's like, it's just like the same but better. It's like
it is.
It's leveled up from what the journalists can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I have a lot of friends who are journalists, and I was talking to them about because I've never been to a convention. I was like, what should I do? And they were like, oh, we got to get you press credentials. Like, we got to get you press credentials. And I think I really lucked out by getting the influencer credentials instead of press credentials, because like I was thinking about it. If I went through the press route, I think that they would be even less like understanding of what I do, because like the press liaison, like if it's I don't know, Ryan Grimm advocating on my behalf from Drop Site News, formerly The Intercept, like that's one thing, but that's going to be difficult for like the press person to like comprehend exactly what I'm doing. They're going to put me down in the pit all the way at the furthest corner. I'm not even going to get like the Epoch Times area, you know what I mean?
Right, you're in that kind of dank corner of the building.
Yeah,
no
exactly.
One's there, it's kind of dead.
And I think that like me coming in as an influencer actually helped me get like better access than I would ever get as press, because this is like, I mean, CNN's right there.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Like they're right there. It's crazy.
Look how close you are to the stage right now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm on top of it.
And like, you would be either in the media row in like the dark, or you'd be like off like in a building outside. Not only that, but you would. Like media outlets have to pay to be here instead of being invited to be here. We got to pay. Everything is like pay to play, and the liaisons are not holding your hands, right? Whereas for the creators, you got like these lounges. I don't know if you're going in them or not, but you could go in them.
I don't really care about that. Yeah, I'm here to work. Yeah. Like I'm not. That's why I'm saying like I'm a little bit different than like the normal influencer that would attend this sort of thing, because it's like, oh, it's fun. This is like a convention, you know. They get to eat some food and like maybe shoot some TikToks. And no disrespect, like that's great, right? Some of these guys are wonderful, but like I'm here, I'm fucking locked in. This is like what I would be doing anyway. I would be doing this from my house. I'm here to do commentary, you know?
Right. Yeah, but they also have a different expectation of what you might do. I think those TikTok guys or whatever, they want them to be like really pumped up. They want them to like put on the jersey of the Democratic Party and like pound their chest, right? Like, and I don't think they can expect you to do that.
Yeah, no, they definitely didn't expect me to do that. But I don't know if they expect them to do that. I think some of them are genuinely just like really into the Democratic Party. Yeah. It might be for cynical reasons, right? Like they might want to be, like they might want to fill a space and become like a certain type of content creator that like is always doing like, pro-Democratic Party stuff. And then some people might just genuinely be invested in the brat memes, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. And I don't know. Like the medium is the message. That's it's an overused cliche, but there's so many people who create content who become they morph into whatever space they fill, right? In a way that they can't really perceive. They just become that. And I think that's pretty common.
I think I really lucked in. I really lucked out in the way that like this is what I loved. This is what I love to do, and it just happened to work really well. And I would have never expected it to work this well, but it did. And now I'm here, which is crazy.
What do you know? So I want to ask about the political thing, because after Aiden Ross did that thing with Trump, I saw that HasanAbi did that thing where he was like, the Secret Service called me over now, why did he leave me? Do you know any of the backstory, what really happened there?
I don't. I'm willing to bet. If I were to give you a lead, I would say I would talk to like maybe some of the marketing, like not the DNC, but the marketing agency. I suspect that this is complete suspicion. I have no information, but I would say, like my speculation at the time, I talked about it on stream as well, was that it was probably someone from like either the DNC side, on the marketing side, that like wanted to kickstart that process potentially, right, with him. And obviously you need to get Secret Service credentials for that, because you can't just be around like a politician as a random influencer.
I don't know for like a congressman, but for a vice president.
Oh yeah, for a vice. Yeah, exactly. Or a former president.
Right. Or a former
right.
president.
So, I think that was probably what was going on, and he was like confused about it. Like I don't think he meant any like malice.
He seemed
at all.
upset, right?
I mean, he was just hyping it up a little bit. You know what I mean? He's an entertainer.
Right.
Like he wasn't actually crying or like slamming the desk.
But he was maybe it's just his shtick. He was making noise about it. Maybe it's just how he is.
Yeah. He was just like, oh, I don't know what's going on, chat. Like this is crazy. You know, that's just. He was being a content creator.
Do you think he would ever do that kind of thing, or do you think he's just really like not interested in doing political stuff at all?
I don't know. At the time, I thought. Kamala, I don't think is a good person to do that with. If I was working for the Democratic Party, I'd link him up with Obama.
You'd get Obama on HasanAbi. Yeah.
100%. It's perfect.
Because of his vibe, the way he could.
His vibes, the way he carries himself. He's endlessly charismatic. He's incredibly telegenic, and he's Obama.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not like, and also. He is he at that point he could be a surrogate for the campaign, but he's not the campaign.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then it removes like one layer of like immediacy to the exact political calculation that's occurring in front of people's eyes, right?
And maybe lowers the risk too, right?
Yeah.
Like, if he doesn't really put his foot in his mouth very much. He doesn't really put his foot in his mouth very often, but if he did, the stakes aren't that high, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If Kamala says something wrong,
then it's like national news.
Crisis, right?
Republicans will use that against them, against her. Whereas they can't really do that. They can't use Obama statements against Kamala Harris, even if he's a surrogate. Like there's a separation there. Yeah.
That makes sense. This is a non sequitur. Tell me about the Zyn. I know a lot of people love the Zyn.
Yeah, I used to smoke, and nicotine gum caused me to, like, it allowed me to quit smoking.
Yeah.
And I really like the Zyns. It's just pure nicotine. I just swapped it to Zyn now instead of nicotine gum.
Is that cheaper than nicotine gum?
No.
It's more expensive.
It's both of them. They're so fucking expensive.
Really?
Yeah. Especially in California.
I got a friend who's a nicotine gum addict. I'm wondering if I should push her on Zyn.
I am too, but then she's gonna be a Zyn addict. She's gonna be a Zinfidel.
Isn't
Osama Bin Laden?
I feel like Zyn isn't like Tucker Carlson a big Zyn guy?
He is, yeah.
Like is Zyn sort of like right identified as a branding thing?
I don't care about that sort of thing. It's just like people try to do that, but it's like, nah. It's nicotine, man. I like nicotine. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like a.
I mean, it's definitely better than smoking, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I don't think it's like necessarily like a right-wing thing. I think everybody likes alcohol. Everybody likes nicotine. Everybody has their vices, you know?
I guess it could be worse.
Let me tell you what I don't like. fucking Pepsi.
What are you doing drinking Pepsi?
It's just I need caffeine, and they don't have Diet Coke here.
I could have brought you some. I would have known. I would have brought you.
Oh, you guys have it at the New York Times?
Yeah, we got some Diet
Damn, you guys are.
Coke. We got a fridge full of Diet Coke.
You guys are riding hot. See, I don't get that. I don't get the 5-star treatment. The DNC is.
That's the DNC
DNC
go to the
stars
Creators
me.
Lounge. They don't have no.
No, they don't have Diet. They only have Diet Pepsi in the Creators Lounge.
What?
Maybe Pepsi Zero, which is significantly better, but.
Maybe is the DNC sponsored by Pepsi? It sounds like.
No, I think it's. I was doing a little bit of investigative reporting, and by that I mean I went to a restaurant and asked the waiter, who speculated that Chicago was like a Pepsi town, and I think like they give you Pepsi for free, like to restaurants for free, but you have to pay for Coke.
That's
So
interesting.
like in order to improve their profit margins, they just only serve Pepsi.
Pepsi. Well, there's a famous Saturday Night Live bit from the '70s about this like burger shop here in Chicago, and that Pepsi's part of the joke. If you ever look it up, like Google, like
Oh, really?
YouTube it, it's like it's got John Belushi in it and some other people, and it's like cheeseburger.
So it's
Pepsi.
been a thing.
It's been a thing since the '70s.
Oh wow.
It's a pretty funny bit because they like come in and no matter what you order, the only thing you can get is a cheeseburger and a Pepsi. Like,
Yeah.
You'd be like, I want a tuna sandwich, and they're like, cheeseburger, and you're like, and a Coke, Pepsi.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Now we're arriving at the conspiracy. We're digging deeper.
Chicago's got a weird Pepsi thing. It's true.
Sucks. But I'm fucking getting used to it now. I feel like.
You could be like, the DNC ruined me on Diet Coke forever.
Yeah. No protein. That's another problem. Not enough protein at all. But it is what it is. Do you have any other questions?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
This is good. All right. How did you like the interactive experience?
It's like it's hard to learn to not look at that stuff scrolling up all the time. Do you ever look at it?
Always. I'm always.
How are you able
this
to
is
read
the,
it? It's like going so
I
fast.
pause it.
You pause it.
I'm always scanning the
And
chat.
what do you-
Even
what-
when we were talking, I was scanning chat.
And
They
what
were
do you hear?
they were
What-
misbehaving. They were definitely misbehaving. They
What
were
were
being
they saying?
annoying as fuck. They were just like bringing up. It's not relevant. It's fine. Right now they're showing you love, and they're saying they got caught. See?
I mean, I can take it. I've heard so many bad things. It's good, but
Oh, about the New York Times?
in general, journalists just get like a lot of.
Well, yeah.
so
Sorry, I probably contribute to it.
it's like
No.
I mean, I've covered a lot of right-wing media stuff, and I've gotten like unbelievable
Oh.
things. So, you know,
Me too.
I'm sure. My DMs will be just horrendous sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
And I think you get used to it. It doesn't really bother you
Yeah.
after a while.
No, it's same.
It's kind of like, it actually turns out it's pretty hard for people to find something that I'm shocked by. Sometimes it happens, but most people aren't creative enough to really. I'm not
Yeah.
encouraging, by the way.